Okay, so Adam, you are part of the Freedom Caucus, and I understand that the rhinos there are trying to thwart anything that you guys are trying to do. They're muzzling you guys. How?
Yeah. Well, you actually had me on the program several months ago when they kicked us out of Republican caucus over that loyalty pledge. They said we couldn't share pictures of the public voting board with constituents because it made other Republicans look bad. They said we couldn't endorse or campaign against other members, even if they did something illegal or immoral. Now, here we are months later, and one of the chairmen, a Republican, gets busted for telling lobbyists, give me campaign cash and I will move your bills out of committee. And he's currently being investigated and it's been referred to a prosecutor. He is still in House leadership. And no one that signed that pledge can call him out because they signed a crony, unprecedented pledge, but they kicked us out for not signing it. Well, then, just last week, they decide that since they can't silence us by kicking us out of their caucus, their closed-door caucus meetings, they're going to change House rules to make it so that we can't offer amendments on the floor. Now, yesterday we took up the Help Not Harm bill, which is a bill that prohibits transgender surgeries on minors. And during that debate, they didn't have criminal penalties on, for physicians that do this. They didn't have reporting requirements for parents, for kids at school when they're transitioning and the parents aren't aware. All of our Freedom Caucus members, we offered a bunch of those amendments up and made them take hard votes. They actually voted down criminal penalties. And then Riley Gaines jumps in on Twitter and blasts them all and says they all need to be primaried. Well, they do a 180. They pull an amendment, and it passes strong, makes it a felony, all because of the Freedom Caucus amendments and because of the information to the public. Well, they want to change House rules now that we can't offer amendments. Literally, a playbook, like straight out of the Nancy Pelosi playbook. They're going to remove the ability to make motions on the floor, and they're going to make it so that the majority leader and minority leader get to handpick which amendments get heard on bills like Help Not Harm, Save Women's Sports, constitutional carry, whatever it is. I mean, so it is literally a full court press to silence and marginalize conservative members who will not go along to get along, won't sign their pledges, won't fall in line and accept weak, watered-down token bills. We're just done with that. There's so many, I believe, so many conservatives across the country who are recently elected who are we're sick of the same old, same old. Like, we're going to fight. We're going to stand up. We're going to make them take hard votes. And when we do, we win.
So what is – wow. I mean, you guys have a constitution, don't you?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We do. The thing is they can set House rules. So thankfully, we actually got it beat last week. A lot of grassroots got focused on this. They heard about these rules and started calling their legislators, which I once again will urge anyone listening, if you're in the state of South Carolina, right now, go to South Carolina House of Representatives, find your legislator, and email them or call them and tell them, do not pass Nancy Pelosi rules that restrict the conservatives' ability to legislate. You've got to do it, because really what I've learned in my time in office, the only way we really win is if the people are behind us. But you have to have legislators who are willing to stand and make the fight and inform the public, and then you got to have the public actually pressuring the rest of the body to do what's right. And so that's what we're doing. We're focused on that. We amend legislation at every turn, and we've been so effective. The assistant majority leader, a Republican, this week went to a lobbyist special interest group on stage and urged them. They said, you've got to donate and recruit candidates against Freedom Caucus Republicans and get them out. They're crazy. They're too conservative. You need to help us get rid of these people. This is a Republican leader. And they spent $700,000 in attack ads in less than a year on my 17 members. So, wow. I mean, they're doing everything they can to stamp out the conservative movement in South Carolina. And yet we keep winning. And like I said, the way we're doing it is because of the people. And so we've got to get this information out there. That's why I'm so grateful for you and people like you who have these platforms that can help inform people and let them know about what's going on.
I find this absolutely despicable, remarkable in some aspects. But absolutely predictable with what the GOP now represents. The GOP, I'm so sick and tired of hearing how we're radical when all we want is constitutional rule. That's all we want. We'll live with the vote of the people as long as it's fair. We'll live with the vote of the people. We'll live with the process. You know, you take a vote, you disagree. But I am so sick and tired of being labeled a radical when all I want is a group of people to execute their oath of office and protect and defend the Constitution of the United States and to actually represent the people. These people, I'm telling you, both parties are so damn corrupt. They get their
Uniparty.
Yes, it is. It's an absolute Uniparty.
Absolutely. You know, at that same event I was talking about, the assistant majority leader says we need to raise money against these crazies. He's immediately echoed and followed by the minority leader of the Senate, a Democrat, who said, I couldn't agree more. You know, we got to get rid of these nut jobs. I mean, so you have literally Republican and Democrats agreeing we've got to get rid of the people who have passed Save Women's Sports, who have passed constitutional carry, who have, you know, we were the ones that did all the election integrity, the prohibition on vaccine mandates. Every one of those bills came from Freedom Caucus members. That's who they think's crazy. You almost can't make it up, but everyone knows that this is going on. The question is, what's the remedy? The remedy is we've got to have good, strong, principled, courageous people to run for office. And if you're listening right now and you live in the state of South Carolina, you need to consider running for office this cycle. You have overwhelming majority of members in the legislature who do not represent your values. They don't want to vote on the record. They don't want to change or fix things or do any work. And we've got to have a better quality of candidate. It's one of the reasons I'm running for Congress. I think that the same thing is needed there. We need conservatives to run at all levels, the county, the state, the federal, people who will go in and not just be all talk, not just, you know, smile and say, oh, yeah, I'm a Republican. And they actually say, you know what? I know what my principles and values are. I know what my constituents want. I'm going to use the office that I have to implement my worldview, the principles I hold dear, the constitutional principles that I know are rooted in truth, and I'm going to implement them in the world around me and defend what I hold dear. And we've done that. We've shut down a pediatric transgender clinic here in South Carolina. We sued school districts that were blatantly teaching CRT when no one would do anything about it. My caucus sued, and we won both cases, and it's out of the schools. I mean, we win when you fight, but you have to have people who are willing to have the backbone and fight.
And you need the people behind you. This is our constitutional duty. This is what we are supposed to do as people. I know people say, I'm tired of calling them all the time. But that's how we got into this situation. We didn't pay attention. We didn't call. We weren't involved. And they knew that. And so this whole thing went corrupt. Our constitutional duty is to be informed and to make your voice heard. So if you're in South Carolina, I want you to call your legislator and say, do not pass the Nancy Pelosi House Rules Bill. It's an abomination. When you are silencing representatives of people and you're not allowing them to say, I'd like to suggest an amendment to this. I'd like to change this a little bit and suggest that. When you can't even allow them to speak, you know you're on the losing side. Only the losing side does that.
You're neutering the institution.
Yes.
I mean, you're literally silencing people who represent 700,000 South Carolinians.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks for everything you guys do.
So much.
Anything that we can ever do for you guys in the Freedom Caucus, and I mean this countrywide, you just let me know. Thanks, Adam. That's Adam Morgan. He is South Carolina State Representative and the Freedom Caucus chairperson. Nothing surprises me anymore. Nothing